Yo! What's up, guys? My name is Chris Tutela, alongside, once again, my good friend, colleague, creepy co-host,
Ruben Borges.
And today we have a special guest on the show.
Oh.
That's your cue.
Oh, Faraone.
Yeah, Faraone. And welcome to episode number 54 of TTS Talk. Chris Faraone, so happy to have you on the show finally, man. This is long overdue. So, first of all, how long have you been training at TTS now?
About 3 years.
Holy shit, it's been 3 years already?
I think so.
Wow. That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah.
Time flies. I remember the first time you walked in here. We had our initial consultation, right?
I remember the second time with sandbags.
Sandbags. There was a
second day?
That was almost the last day.
Wait. So, remind me, what did we do?
We were
sandbag shouldering?
Right, and we had them right here, and the door was right there, and I was face to face with Zingari. And we kept going, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I looked at it, he's going, I'm like, fuck this, I'm out.
I had to go to the group. We also only had
that was a finisher we did as, right? It was a Saturday morning?
It was like a Thursday night.
Okay.
We only had two specific bags, and they were 80 pounds.
Yeah,
so they were like heavy.
Yeah, I know, I made them.
And I was like, whoa, I remember thinking, this is going to be a rough one. I'm like, guys, it's going to take hard dedication here. But you went all out. That was way too heavy. But you kept going as much as you can.
It's probably a bad part as coaches, but at the time we were kind of just like...
I had to go outside and regroup. I didn't vomit or anything, but I had to regroup.
That was his true test. Is, you know what? The very next day he came.
Yeah,
back. And
that's always the test.
He took it as a challenge, and he was like, all right, let's go. And, he was fine ever since.
If you walk back through the doors after a day like that, shows a lot about character.
It really does.
I think you guys should get the 80 pound
sandbag. We should get a test on it. 30 seconds. Let's see what you got.
Yeah. If they don't come back, I guess that's a problem for you.
Yeah, for sure. If not for you. You just want to scare them away. That's right. Leave more space in the 5 a.m. crew.
That's exactly right. That's right.
Now, let's rewind. Let's rewind to 3 years ago, before you walked through the doors. Mm-hmm. What does your life look like fitness-wise? Because I know you're always a runner, you're always into running, but just tell me a little bit about what that looked like back before.
I was always a runner, and I kept myself in shape that way. I lifted too, but as I got older and I accrued more injuries, I couldn't run as much, and I was lifting, and I wasn't seeing any results, and the creeper in the high school would be like, "Oh, I got this idea for you," and I'm like, "I don't want to do that." And he's like, "No, not that one." He goes, "Maybe you should want to try this gym out." And I was like, "All right." So I gave a call, and I came here, and since I've been here, obviously there's been a lot of strength gains, but I'll never forget the consultation.
Our nutrition consultation.
Yes,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, he's like, "Do you breathe?" "Yes." "You have cancer." Do you eat anything?" "Yes." You have cancer." He goes, but more importantly, the one thing that we did talk about, which
that's not how that went, by the way.
I'm cleaning that up.
That's not what happened. But we did talk about the things I ate and things I drank, particularly my diet soda intake, which was atrocious.
Right.
And I was, I'm pretty regimented guy, so I was scared halfway to hell. And I went outside, I went home, and I started pouncing, piercing cokes and dumping them out my front steps. Because I'm like, I'm not drinking this anymore.
But that's the best thing I could have ever done for you.
Yeah.
So it was great because at the time I was working at the same high school Faraone's currently working at now, and he came by. I saw his hey Faraone, how did the consultation go? Well, apparently I'm getting cancer. I'm like, what? He goes, no. Then he broke it down. He goes, but everything that I have is definitely not as healthy as I thought, and it definitely opened you up.
I would say that's
someone who's as competitive as you and structured as you. And I think it, lit something up. You were like, wait a minute. All right, well, I got to clean this up quick.
Right.
And you just said, you're quick with it. You just spilled all the soda away and ready to go.
To me, the big thing about the gym for me here is it's been about something I always look for something to fill the void for competition. I was I ran high school track, I ran D1 college, we played softball, then everyone had kids, we couldn't do that anymore. I joined the golf league. Here was an opportunity to continue to compete, mostly against myself, with the support of my 5 a.m. crew usually, getting in better shape or lifting more weight or trying to look as good as possible. And that stuff, makes you come, for me, that's what makes me come back again. I'm like, okay, I want to compete against myself. I want to be better than me yesterday or me 2 years ago or me, I want to be better than me tomorrow. That's just how I live. And, after a consultation and, a few challenges I did with you too, that was what it was about. It was like, I need to compete. I just need to compete. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to.
And so, like you said, you're mostly competing against yourself.
Oh,
so
it's 100%.
Is it like you come in here, you're trying to be better than you were yesterday, right?
Right.
But you have that environment in here that's like people are going to support you, they're going to push you, they're going to motivate you to do your best. So I feel like it's that type of energy that.
Oh, it's of course that energy.
Right?
I mean, and bonds. I mean, like, I'll work out on a different day, and one of the guys will call me up, how'd the workout go?
Yeah.
It's just that check-in that you get. And then. You guys know, and like I don't know, people don't think so, but we've developed like cycling outside of here.
Yeah.
Or now we're all doing a triathlon. I mean, like it just again, let's go find something we couldn't do and let's go do it.
It's like 15 of you maniacs.
Yeah, I mean, and that's.
How come Ruben didn't jump in on this?
Well, because I'm actually afraid. They asked me, I'm like, I don't know, how long you guys going? They're 50 miles over mountains. And I heard a rumor about...
You take a brick and throw it into the water? That's like we're trying to watch Ruben swim.
I'm all about progression. Maybe a mile bike ride to start.
I'll tell you, I can't tell you how impressed I am by the guys doing it though. I mean, like every day, we have a group meet, and every day those guys are posting what they're doing and doing stuff. And again, but it's the culture that we developed over the years of lifting together. It's just a different strength system. It's just a different avenue. I mean, obviously, we have to be mindful of our caloric intake. We're going to do that much cardio.
Yeah.
But
when we were talking before we started recording, he said he hasn't eaten in 3 days, so that's perfect.
He is a coach.
For triathlon training.
He's a track coach at this different time.
Yeah. So I mean, I haven't seen any negative results from not eating, so I don't know if that's a problem. But yeah, no, that's really what it's been about for me in my lifting and my training here. So.
Okay. Awesome. So. What would you say now, 3 years later, what are some of the biggest things that you notice physically that maybe you didn't see in the past?
Physically, I will tell you that, actually, this is going to be shocking to say, my flexibility is a little bit better.
Holy hell.
He has been.
And the reason that he says it's shocking is because he was literally like a piece of wood when he first walked in here. It's
now I'm just a little bit more pliable, but I'm still a piece of wood.
Right.
I just actually... I take pride, for me personally, when we do because I always do Bulgarian split squats. Like when I get my knee to the ground constantly.
One of the best exercises.
That's pretty cool to me because I remember I couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to get that ground now all the time. Like,
I
hit it. And that's kind of fun for me. I mean, I don't know that I'll ever be able to do a back squat, but because I have a rounded back from the exercise. But it's again, I've noticed more flexibility even with the Spider-Man stretches. Ruben
I stop things when I see this, and I'm like, whoa, Faraone, that's another inch.
Yeah.
And I like to put that in there. But that's another thing, kind of, you talk about the mobility. We talk about getting stronger, but sometimes, improving your range of motion will happen. And something like that, Bulgarian split squat, you were getting stronger, but we were conscious of the range of motion. We're like, you're almost there, but go as far as you can. That's optimal for you. And through time of him doing that, then we go back to Bulgarian split squat. Yeah, your knees touching the pad, you're getting full range, and now you're owning that movement. That's progress. Just for guys out there to know, sometimes it's staying at a certain weight and improving your range of motion, consider that a way of progression.
And let me ask you this: were you stretching or doing anything like that before you started training? Like, would you do basic stretches and stuff like that?
No,
not at all. Okay.
Not even when I was an athlete.
But here's the thing that's funny about that, because even if you said yes. Because I've seen this 100 times. People that just run or don't really strength train properly, and they do a bunch of like basic static stretching, their flexibility has zero improvement. Their mobility has zero improvement. And the best way for people to actually improve their flexibility and their range of motion is through quality strength training, right? Through a full range of motion, whatever that full range of motion looks like for you, and then we can progress that and build upon that. And then that's where those supplemental, that the soft tissue work and the stretching, the mobility drills, because we're doing that for 3 years now. You've been doing bodyweight squats and a warm-up. You've been doing single leg lunges, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. That combined with getting stronger and developing more stability has now led to more mobility, right? And the next 3 years, who knows what that's going to look like for you, you know what I mean? It's just about laying that foundation first and having all those boxes checked, right? Which is great. So one of the biggest changes you've seen is your flexibility, right? And more mobility. You developed some pretty deep bonds here. How are your joints? Because I think a lot of people associate weight training with injury. So my question for you is, as somebody who never really did weight training, or at least with proper weight training in the past, how do your joints feel? How does your body feel?
I mean, I feel great. I mean, there's really nothing. I've never had any joint issues outside of lingering running issues that I've had over the course of my life.
Ankles, right?
Just the Achilles.
Okay.
I have a bone spur.
Yeah.
Back there. But outside that, really nothing. I mean, we don't do anything here, or I don't do anything here that is not progressive. And it's something I've taken. Sometimes we joke to an extreme with like week one, and things like that. I really try to progress my weights appropriately and slowly and really focus. And I always ask if I'm not sure about an exercise, because I mean, joint health is important to me. But at the same point, I haven't run into an experience here where I've like went home and like my knees have been bothering me or my shoulders and things like that. So I mean, I felt this really positive. And then, of course, as a supplement to that, some of the supplements that you advised to be taking, like the fish oils and things like that, probably also will increase the aid in that mobility long term.
To kind of add to that, because Faraone and that group you guys have, these guys, and you just said, the bike riding, everything, they're hardcore. They go at it, especially when it becomes like the last week of a program. They're not going to let up. They're gonna push yourself to a proper and quality max. So with that being said, sometimes a week, it gets them. It was a heavy week, and they understand a deload week or, a first week of a program where, being conscious of the weight selection and given while training at the still and not having a recovery week, still training, but just being conservative with the weight selection and understanding that taking that almost as a recovery week while still training, that goes a long way, and they keep doing that, and they're always making progressions, getting stronger.
Yeah, no doubt. And how would you say, because look, you've been here for 3 years now, you've done a Game Changer, and that's like an extra coaching program we offer here. Would you say that you've noticed any differences mentally? The way you feel, your mood, your energy? Because I've seen you too, like even when you came here, you had a little bit more body fat on you, right? You were tight. Now, physically, there's a lot of differences for sure. You're leaner, you're stronger, you have more muscle, you're healthier, more flexibility. But what about on the mental, emotional side? Have you noticed any difference in that?
Yeah, I mean, like it's well, for me, I was looking for the fill of a void. For me, like I view some people view this as like a hobby. Some people, for me, it's a job.
Yeah,
I can't miss a day of work. So like I need that structure to make sure like I feel full for the day.
Right.
So I mean that I think obviously helped me a lot. I mean, if you've done any kind of working out over the course of your life, when you're not working out, you don't feel right.
Right.
So I think that having consistent training program, having consistent coaching, having consistent groups, to me actually has made me feel like a little bit more positive and more energetic. I mean, that's been I think a very observable thing in my life. That there's been a little bit more. Because there's more goals now. Like without vision, without goal, you feel stagnant.
Right.
And even if like work or something is stagnant, like we can progress here, or we can progress on the bike ride, or we can progress in the pool.
Else. Yeah.
Right. There's something. It doesn't always have to be about the 9 to 5 grind.
Right.
Like, oh wait, I'm stuck in this position.
Sure.
It kind of liberates you when you see yourself change over 3 years to know that, hey, you know what, maybe I can pull that into my professional life as well.
Yeah.
And other things where at first, like to think about things that are that you think to be impossible. When we first started here, we would do we did a pull-up test. I did like 7 pull-ups, and they were really crappy. I'm really going, well, I guess they're 7.
Like 6-ish.
Yeah, and then I remember doing like a fat bar test one day. And there was a third set, and we did like 18, and they were correct. I mean, like if you told me I was going to do 18 pull-ups on a fat bar when I did 7 on the skinny bar, maybe
18's a lot too.
I think like and of course the other guys were even better. I mean, but like it's just like things that like you never thought possible. So like, why can't I do these other things? Why can't I make these other changes?
Right.
Now we're doing a triathlon. Somebody told me I was doing a triathlon 2 years ago. I would be like, right.
Right.
I mean, I'm not getting in the pool and doing anything. But I mean, we go in the pool, and the other day we swam like 90 laps.
You're also in a golf team too, right?
I do a golf league. Yeah, that's
guys just
all over the place.
It's great.
It's great. I just love competition.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than it.
Right.
And again, I mean, as you grow, I think as an adult, you realize the best competition is with yourself.
Right.
I mean, it's like when I play in the golf league, I want to beat the guy next to me. But I always like golf because it really doesn't matter what that guy does.
Right.
It matters what I do.
Sure.
And
same thing here.
Right. Here too, and then like as a runner, when you execute your race plan and you've trained properly, it's really about you and following your plan. So I mean, I've always viewed that as a track coach myself and as an athlete myself, and that's what I kind of loved about the sports that I've done. And you know, this just kind of flowed right into that process. And again, you know, I think there was a point in my life where, you know, you're like 30, you know, you're 31, you know, you were an athlete, you were this, you were that, and now you're, what am I now?
Yeah.
And what that was, what that was over.
Right.
And it was time to reinvent myself a little bit, and I think that's what happened here.
That's amazing,
That's awesome.
because reinventing yourself, it started with, you know, something outside of, like, it started with your fitness, right? Like, it was like, what could I be doing differently? And the reason I bring that up is because I always tell people the gateway to change starts with your health and it starts with your fitness, right? So like reinventing yourself, that resonates with me because it started you walking through these doors. Maybe you didn't even realize that you were in the process of reinventing yourself at the time. But what that led to was all right, taking all this shit that I was eating, let me get rid of most of this stuff, right? Let me change my diet. Let me change my program as far as training goes. Let me try something new. And that led to now, you know, maybe you had the mindset of, let me do this for a year, see how it goes, or 6 months, or whatever was in your mind at the time. But now look, 3 years later, you're still here. You're still chipping away. You're still making this type of progress, which is amazing, man.
That's fun.
You know, and that's and when to go back to reinventing yourself, I could see it having this conversation with you. You are a different person, bro. Like, no, really, like you've come so far in your growth too. Like just being here and, you know, the changes you've made for yourself. It's really awesome to see. Like I said, we've had time to communicate through the Game Changer, and we've had a couple times where we sat down and had a cup of coffee over the summers, and, you know, just like through conversation. Which brings me to my next question now. Like, what is the next goal for you?
I mean, right now it's just, I mean, I think it's what it's been. It's let's get better. Let's get better at whatever it is we're doing. You know, right now, from a physical standpoint, we're training for a triathlon, for the triathlon. I mean, I can tell you personally, I mean, we started swimming about a month and a half ago. I got 2 laps done, and I was like, man, I hope one day I can do more than 2 laps. So I can go about 55 laps now straight without having a problem.
Wow.
And like we did, and over the course of an hour the other day, I did 90 something.
Holy
so, I mean, I'm excited for that challenge, and now I'm trying to work very slowly back into my running. I mean, when I say slowly, going out for 5-minute jogs just to reacclimate the soft tissue.
Right.
You know, just to see that. I mean, and again, that's a physical challenge. From a mental standpoint, I'm trying to finish my dissertation so I get my PhD done. You know, I'm doing that a little bit on the weekends. You know, obviously, I want to continue to improve my golf game. You know,
golf or dissertation.
Yeah, sometimes. That's why I got to get a lot of work done now. Because once it hits May, it gets a lot harder choices. But you know, you know, and again, you know, constantly looking at the professional field, like what is the next challenge? You know, you know, I get feeds if something comes in that looks interesting, I'll apply to it. I'm not scared like I used to be. Well, what if I get it and I have to meet Lou? Well, then I'll get you through it. You know, whatever happens, happens. So like, you know, those are the things I think that are where I'm at. You know, where they go, I don't know.
That's awesome. But it'd be somewhere good, it seems. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you're looking at it as a positive sense, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything bad happening. I mean, so.
Do you feel like developing strength, more muscle, and improving those areas? Do you feel like that's helped your confidence in other areas?
I mean,
career-wise and all that.
I feel like, you know, as a coach, I always told my athletes, when you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's true across the board, and sometimes you forget it as you get older. When you are in shape, you feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. You feel more confident. Like, and you know, I'm in some more of these meetings now. They're getting a little bit older, and I'm not afraid to talk anymore. I'm like, well, I think this or I think that, and you know, we had a crisis situation at the high school on Friday, and like, you know, I wasn't, you know, it was kind of a scary scenario, and I was ready to lead. I wasn't ready to sit back, and I mean that's I think those characteristics are innate in people, but at the same point, like, you know, properly being prepared in life and properly feeling good about yourself allows those characteristics to come to the top rather than being suppressed under like layers of doubt and everything else. So
that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I said, man, like I can't say it enough. Like the change I've seen in you, right? And now like you're saying, when you look good, you feel good, right? So like you've made those changes, and now it's kind of seeping out into other areas in your career and whatnot. And I think that's an important message for people to know, right? Like that what you do, physically, it goes way beyond just fitness and just that aspect of it. A lot of people just look at the physical side and say, like, because look, you could also flip that around too.
Right.
There are certain people that only focus on fitness,
right?
And there's these other areas of their lives that are lacking, right? And they might be super insecure, or their careers, or their relationships are all over the place, like whatever that is, right? So I think it's important for, like, you're saying that you do so many different things, you have so many other goals.
Right.
This was just something that we were adding to kind of help you progress on the other side of things too, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just, okay, I'm just going to focus on fitness, because we see that all the time. I can't tell you how many guys I know that they're ripped abs and they look great, but they can't even look in the eye when they're having a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's important to have these different outlets and these different avenues, and whether it be golf and training and whatever you're doing, becoming a doctor, all this stuff.
No, you're still gonna have to call 911. Yeah. I mean, I'm not that kind of doctor.
But listen, you just feed off what Coach said, that you took the ground running. You went on the ground running. You came here, trained, immediately went to all the outlets.
Well, I got
right for it.
I gotta be honest though. Like, you walked in the door and you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
No,
like,
yes.
The guys and girls at times, but the guys that I've got to be close with over the years, they're going through it too. They're reinventing themselves.
Right.
They're trying to be more, and so it's you realize, oh, I don't have to, I'm not a weird guy.
Which is great. Which is great too, because
I mean, Ruben's here. And they're helpless.
A little creepy, but
I mean, yeah.
but that's
he's so positive.
But that's the thing, is that I think, like, we're all trying to reinvent ourselves, right? We're all trying to take a step in the right direction, right? And that's, I think, the message that we try to share constantly with everyone. We're not above anybody or any different than anyone. It's just like, we're doing the same things.
Yes.
Like there's other areas that I want to get good at, and be better at, and we should always reach and strive for that.
Well, I think it's evident. I mean, as coaches, we see you guys striving for things. I mean, you're constantly developing your business stuff, and and keeping yourself together. I mean, you did the show last year, showing us, I'm not just talking the talk. I'm walking the talk here right now. I'm hungry.
I really wasn't. I was hungry.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, there's no part of being here that's not about figure out what's
improvement.
It's all of us too. Everyone in here is helping everyone out.
Right.
I've said this on shows previously. I was talking to Tony T. Shout out to Tony T.
Tony T.
He was telling me that he was in an over 40 baseball league.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing that. I'm like, hey, you really are still playing baseball? He goes, yeah, absolutely. I'm in 2 leagues. They're playing doubleheaders. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to play baseball. I haven't played in so long, but that's how close we are. I'm coaching these guys here, but we all help each other out. It's a really big team, good family here, and that's what it takes. It keeps you coming back, keeps you training, and pushes you to the limit. These guys doing triathlon, I think it's just amazing.
I mean, I'll tell you that.
We're going to be out there cheering.
I will be there. Me and Ruben.
I'm past the water. We'll be
I think you guys.
What is the date?
I think it's the 18th.
Right?
Yeah,
the 18th of July.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think you guys should get a pro vote. I think maybe.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
Be out in the middle of the thing,
Or like Ace Ventura with the little burn.
I don't know which one of the 15 of us you're going to pick up, but I can make some wagers. If you want.
Okay.
I mean, but I will say, for us, a Saturday morning, obviously Dale and I finished our workout.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dale, of course.
Dale.
And Nick for helping me out there too. We go over there and have some coffee. We'll just talk about, like, what do we need to do for training? What do we need to do, for the bike? What do we need to do for this? And that again, you're not alone. You're like, oh shit, somebody else wants to do this kind of crazy crap.
Right.
And again, that's important. Like, you talked about that stuff. I mean, there's guys here that be like, hey, why don't we go play around the golf sometimes? So we'll go play golf. Usually there's also some guys that say, hey, you want to get some drinks sometimes? So it encourages that behavior too.
Yeah.
So important.
Shots of tequila.
Whoops.
Friday night before Saturday.
No, we
poor bastard. I saw him in here Saturday morning. I came.
Oh my God. Well, you know what?
He was like blue, falling over.
I was just following my mentor, Paul Kaplan.
Real quick, I just want to touch on this before we wrap up the show. So you're a 5 a.m. guy, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing 5 a.m.
When I first started, I was a 6:30 p.m. guy, but I came over to 5 a.m.
Were you always an early guy?
Well, no, yeah. First, I mean, I would prefer to do things in the morning. Always do. I like the feeling of knowing I can keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you get to the end of the day, there's a lot of speed humps for me.
Right.
Like as a teacher and then a track coach.
Right.
Like I said, I view my workouts as part of my job.
Yeah.
So like to have a third entity to have to go to. I mean, after that point, and then by the way, I don't know if any of you guys drive the Parkway at 6:30.
Yes. That can make you think.
I'll tell you what. If the same drive at 5 o'clock will take me an hour and a half, it takes me 8 minutes in the morning.
Oh my God!
I started here at 6:30. It was good. I mean, good energy in the group. We had a lot of fun. I was sucked into 5 a.m. by the Godfather of 5 a.m. Paul Kaplan. I've been at 5 a.m. ever since because honestly, I would say he built the culture there.
Yeah,
he did build the culture there, and as it progressed over time, I got a group of us that worked out with him. I've taken the reins on that because we used to only have 2 5 a.m. days,
right?
And now we have 5 a.m. days, basically.
Maybe 6,
right?
It's the hardest session to get for people to get into.
Right. So and I'd like to say that you guys do a great job getting here and coaching it, but he brought the energy at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
You came to 5 a.m. because you didn't want to let down Kaplan. You didn't want to let him down. That's
just came just to watch.
Yeah.
See what he's gonna say. He says some interesting lines.
I'll be honest with you. For me, I'm a team guy too. Like when I feel like I don't show up to my 5 a.m.,
you let someone down.
I let my team down.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. Obviously, I train a lot with Dale and Nick and Paul. But to me, if I didn't show up, to me I was like, oh well, maybe. And Nick says it to me all the time. He'll be like, when you're here, I push a little harder.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, it really is a culture, and it's like, it's great because we have TTS, right? Everybody here trains at TTS, obviously, and everybody's family and community. But the 5 a.m., you guys have kind of created your own little culture there.
NWO.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You know what's funny? I think there was a point in which. Way back in the day, that Kaplan called the 9 a.m. crew the no job crew.
Oh yeah,
and they really embodied it. Like they took over and had their own little society too.
Crew.
And then
which by the way, they're not.
They're not. They're just firemen,
police officers. Yeah. That's
which we're very thankful for.
Yeah.
Especially last Friday in high school. But, like I said, I mean, it's great that it looks like there's a few crews, and it looks like there's a godfather of each crew too. Lenny, bad bot for you.
It's like with every sport team. You got the power guy, the loud guy. You got the guy who does everything correctly. You got the guy who always shows up. It's really great.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. Yeah.
Well, Faraone, listen, man. I just want to say thank you for all of your support and putting your trust in us and such dedication for the last 3 years, man. And I just want to say that I'm proud of you. You've been kicking ass and really leading by example, dude. And we couldn't ask for more because if it's our job to grow fitness, right? And the idea of strength and fitness and the importance of it and how it opens up other avenues of your life. And without guys like yourself, we would not be able to do that because you're the one that they see, kind of changing your life and making these strides and changes and your commitment. We get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get here at 5, whatever time you wake up, right?
After coaching a long day. I know how those days are, and that's brutal, man.
Yeah, and to do that, that is contagious, man. Just like bad behavior is contagious. That alone is contagious. So I want to acknowledge you for that, man. And just thanks for everything, dude. Love you. Keep up the great work, man.
You're more people than you know.
Thanks.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you guys want to find me or if you have any questions for me, you can hit me up on Instagram. I'm at Chris_Tutela, Tutela. Or if you want to listen to my podcast, it's the Iron Life Podcast. You can just go to ironlifepodcast.com, I think. If not, just go to christutela.com and you'll find it. Coach, where can you guys find me? You guys
can find me on Instagram at _Ruben, RUBEN _BORGES. Feel free to ask me any fitness questions. Rombo.
Have a good day.
Anything for him?
Hold on, I got one thing.
Okay.
Roland and I are a really big Mets fan. Give me a 2020 prediction of the New York Mets.
We're gonna take the division this year. It's gonna happen.
We're taking the division.
It's gonna be a good year for us. Yes. So
you heard it here.
Go Mets.
You heard it here.
Let's go Mets.
Was it LMFGO?
No, that's right.
You've heard this every season since 1991.
I gotta be right once.
Throw enough shit at the wall, eventually something's gonna stick. Got it. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you next week on another episode of
TTS Talk.
Catch you later.
For Rombo.